Right. So, why is calm so important? And you're all here for a reason. There's obviously something within you that there was a pull or a need for you to be here. And I'm going to get into why calm is so important because you kind of think, I mean, calm really, does it really matter? I mean, it's kind of just a bit of a buzzword, it's a bit of fluff, but it's not fluff, it's actually biology. And calm is actually the fundamental building blocks of everything. If you have a dysregulated nervous system and you can't think, you can't act in a rational manner, and your body starts to, sorry, I'm just letting people in, and your body starts, well, there becomes an imbalance over time, a hormonal imbalance, mindset, mental well-being, gut health, all of the things start, your body essentially, your mind starts poisoning your body. So it's not just fluff. So this is why I'm here. But the good thing is it's actually it's something that we can turn around. It's something we can transform, and it's something that you can actually change your state instantly, really, when you have the tools and you have the strategies. And then that changes everything. It changes your life because calm does change everything. So I'm going to I'm going to share my screen with everyone. All right, can everyone see that? I'm assuming you can. All right. So a little bit about me. I'm not going to talk about me too much, but I really want to understand you to understand where it can all begin. Okay, so for me, I always had trouble with confidence. I had trouble. I was always seeking outside validation for my worth. I was always worried about what people thought of me. Did they think I was stupid? Was I going to say the wrong thing? What was I wearing? Was it appropriate? Were they going to like it? My weight, all of the things. I was seeking outside validation for my worth. And this left me in a constant stress response, I reckon, my whole life, pretty much until my mid-30s. And just to go back in time, there's a couple of events along the course of my life that really solidified this programming. I remember the first time I was in ballet and I was 6, and my mum and my ballet teacher, they walked aside and they were having a conversation that I obviously wasn't meant to hear. And essentially, my ballet teacher told mum that I was too fat to do ballet, and I obviously wasn't meant to hear that, but I did. I never went back to ballet, but I was devastated. I wasn't too fat. I was just a kid. I was just growing up. It is what it is. But I overheard it, and this started a journey. This started a programming. This started a belief within me that I had to look a certain way to fit in, that I had to act a certain way to fit in. When I was in year 6, I had a 2-litre bottle of Coke put over my head. And the girl said to me, "You're stupid. You don't belong here. You're dumb." All of the things that girls do in school. And this is obviously devastating for me. But in hindsight, that girl, my brother has Down syndrome, and her sister has Down syndrome. They're the same age. They're in the same year. And I later learned, obviously, that was just a reflection of how she was feeling about herself. Nothing to do with me, but that didn't matter. I perceived it in a certain way. And then all of a sudden, there's a belief system that is solidifying. And then in year 10, I was in PE, in the gym, and there was all of my peers, like 250 of us. And we had to do a beep test, and part of that was getting weighed. Now, there were the old school scales, the big red letters, big red numbers, and it was 58.8 kilos. Now, I weighed pretty much heavier than all of the girls and heavier than many of the boys in that year. They were all looking at me, and once again, I was devastated. Once again, this is just solidifying this programming that I have to look a certain way, act a certain way, to fit in. And this went on pretty much my whole life up until my mid-30s when I was diagnosed. I'd had a 6-year battle with infertility, but I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue, adrenal fatigue, depression, and anxiety. And I hit a, well, that was my rock bottom. My fertility specialist essentially said to me after a 6-year journey that she couldn't see me any longer because I needed to sort out my mind and my body. And this was the photo that I took after I went to the dog park that night and looked up to the universe and said to the universe, I need help. And that was a sliding doors moment for me, or a light bulb moment, because it was the pivotal turning point, even though that was the most devastating thing that anyone could have said to me. And I guess I could have gone and seen another fertility specialist, but I didn't, because I knew that it was time for me to listen to the whispers of my body. I had not listened. My nervous system was fried, for lack of better terminology. I was dysregulated. My mind was poisoning my body. So I spent 6 months healing my mind and my body. And I started listening and I started learning the tools and the strategies to help me understand how to take control of my body and my mind. And now, 6 months later, after my fertility specialist told me to leave and go away for 6 months, essentially, I walked back into the fertility specialist office and she took the next round of bloods for my next round of IVF. And the next day I was sitting down on the train coming home from work and she said, Lou, are you sitting down? And I said, yeah. And she said, you're pregnant. And I gave birth to 3 kids in 3 years, all naturally. And now every journey is different. But what I want you to gain from this is that the nervous system is always listening. And what happened to me was I got really busy after that. I had 3 kids, I birthed a business, we moved into state. My husband was working long hours. I was keeping it all together. I'm a person that considers myself, as you all do, very capable, very, if we ask for help, it's a sign of weakness. We can do it all. We are strong. We are independent. We get it done. And there's a balance to that. But I took it to the extreme. And once again, I let my old programming get the better of me. Until last year when I was in hospital with influenza A. It was about this time last year. We were hospitalised for a week. It was really bad. But instead of allowing myself to heal, time to find calm, time to really look after myself, I put so much pressure on myself I was really busy in the business. I had group programs. I was seeing one-on-one clients. And I felt if I stopped, then I would be failing them. I'd be failing myself. I'd be seen as weak. So I kept going. And I kept going until we moved into state later on in that year, which was the start of this year. We moved into state. We renovated a house. I was looking after 3 kids because they weren't in school because of the move. There was a lot going on. And in January this year, I was in the kitchen of my new house and I started to have a panic attack. And I fell to the floor and I couldn't breathe. So I was sitting there and I had to start I had a voice in my head saying, just breathe, just calm, just breathe, 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 breathe. So I just let myself breathe. I was just in and out, in and out. And I went and sat down and I sat in the corner for I don't know how long and I just allowed myself to breathe. And this was another turning point for me because I wasn't listening again and I got really busy. So it was time to change. And that's what I did. And now here we are now. So what I want you to understand from that is what I learned is that the nervous system is always listening, okay? It's not just about being busy. It's about how safe we feel in our body. And that's what it is. It's about not being busy, but how safe we feel. The stress, if we're stuck in stress, if we're stuck in chronic stress response, and we all baseline it, we're busy. We not society normalizes being busy. Society normalizes being stressed. If we haven't had a stressful, busy day, then we haven't been productive, then we've been lazy. We should have done more. We've got the to-do list. The stress over time eats away at our mind, our body, and our soul. And we pay a price. So I thought that I could mindset away my stress. But you can't, because a nervous system and a dysregulated nervous system is actually biology. So I obviously talk a lot about mindset, and that's really important. But mindset can't override biology. So I'm going to teach you how to train your nervous system to work for you, not against you. So we can stop chasing perfectionism, so we can stop people pleasing, so we can stop having to feel like we have to do it all. So we can find calm and we can find homeostasis in the body. And then from this place, that changes everything. Then you can write the next chapter of your story and make it that one that you don't want to leave. The story, the chapter of your, make it the one where all of your dreams come true. So I'm just going to go a little bit into the science of it. I'm not going to bore us with the science, but there are a lot of people that do need to know the science. So I'm going to send you out a little bit more on the science of it tomorrow. So for those of you who are interested, if you've got any questions or anything else, please feel free to ask later on. But why does it matter? Obviously, reduces cortisol levels, adrenaline levels, which means less inflammation, clearer thinking. So when you are feeling overwhelmed, when your nervous system is dysregulated, when you're in chronic stress, so you're out of the prefrontal cortex and you go into the amygdala. So the prefrontal cortex, when you leave that, so that's where all your clear thinking happens, that's where all the decisions happen, that's where all the beliefs, that's where, when you think about a time when everything was flowing, everything was coming to you, it was just all happening. You were giving responses to questions that you didn't even realize that you had the answer to. You felt smart, you felt aligned, you had this is when you are working from a state of calm. It slows heart rate, so it stabilizes all the blood pressure, obviously. So when your nervous system is dysregulated, sometimes a lot of the time you have digestive issues. Digestion is your gut is your second brain, okay? And part of the reason why, because all the blood flows out of there and it goes to all of the extremities, all of the other places in your body. So the digestion starts to suffer. Sleep, rest quality, obviously, and you restore access to the prefrontal cortex, like I said. So better decision making. This is where creativity as well. So these are all of the reasons why it matters. What happens when we're dysregulated? For me, and for a lot of my clients, you're always on. Adrenaline is kicking through the body. You feel wired a lot of the time. I say tired and wired when you're lying there in bed at night. You can't go to sleep, but you're tired. Your body aches, but you're so awake. You're tired and wired because the adrenaline is pumping. Your nervous system is fried. Snappy, emotionally flat, brain fog, anxiety, overwhelm, feeling like a failure, tight chest, fatigue, gut issues. And all of these probably resonate with you and have at some point or another. And the thing is, you don't need to do anything else so you can have calm, so you can find calm, so you can regulate your nervous system. You just need to feel safe. Why it matters. High functioning women live in constant low grade stress. We're externally fine, but internally overwhelmed. And we talked about that. I'm fine. Every client that I talk to, and on the phone and on Zoom, it's like, hey, how you going? It's like, I'm fine. This is our natural response. You're not fine. We don't want to, if we say we're not fine, we feel like it's perceived as vulnerability. It's a weakness that we can't cope. And that's a failure on our part. And it's simply not. Because calm creates internal safety and it optimizes the way your body and your mind function. Resilience increases, your emotions become more stable, and clarity and energy, they all return. So that's a little bit of the science behind it. And once again, I just want to reiterate that you can't think your way out of calm. You can't think your way out of chaos to calm. You can't. It's kind of like when somebody's crying or you're feeling really stressed and they say you just got to stop stressing. You've just got to relax. You just can't, because it's biology. It's happening within the body. So it doesn't matter what you are thinking at that moment. If you don't have the tools to be able to regulate what's happening in your body, the mind can't override it. So we can't return to that clear thinking. All right, so has everyone got a pen and paper? If you don't have a pen and paper, do you want to grab something? I'll just give you a minute. I'm just going to stop sharing the screen for a minute so I can see you all. All right. Pen and paper? All right, perfect. So what I want you to do is, so what we're going to do is intentions are premonitions, okay? So I want everyone to shut their eyes now, and I want you to feel into what's your intention, okay? Why did you come here? What did you want to get out of this? And if you're having trouble thinking, I want you to imagine yourself dropping down into your heart space, okay? And feel the intention of why you are here, what you want to gain, and what you want to let go of. I'm going to breathe into that. And I want you to imagine a line going down the middle of your body. And this is the central nervous system, okay? And I like to think of it as a flowing river. Sometimes I've had clients say it's a daisy chain, a ribbon floating in the wind. Imagine it floating, okay? And this is representing your central nervous system. We're anchoring the intention into the nervous system. And by focusing on the present moment, you are dissolving stress, anxiety, fear, and regulating your nervous system, bringing everything back into balance, bringing those cortisol levels down. Anchoring that intention. Okay. When you're ready, only when you're ready, open your eyes. Okay, I'm going to go. If everyone's got there, I'm going to skip this and come back to this. Okay. I want you to grab your pen and paper and reflect. Okay, so these are the three journaling questions. Okay, what have I been carrying this year that I no longer need? What would I shift if I moved from pressure to presence? And then what does calm feel like for me? I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. I'll give you one more minute. If anyone wants to share, I'd just love to know what calm feels like for you, and or if you can even remember what calm is.
I don't think I can remember a time where I have been fully calm and present for a very, very long time.
Yeah, I mean that's the fact of life, isn't it? We normalize being busy, we normalize being stressed, or sometimes we're not even consciously aware of the fact that we're not living in some form of calm until something happens. I mean, I mean, for me, it was infertility, and that led to a couple of other obviously health issues. But up until then, I look back and my life, I can see in retrospect, obviously, that I was living in chronic stress and that I wasn't happy. But when I was in it, I didn't even realize it. And it took a massive life event for me to understand that. And a lot of the time we don't. So sometimes it takes rock bottom for us to sit back and think, hang on, I don't actually even remember the last time I was calm. It's, does anyone else want to share? Anyone else want to share in the chat box? Okay. I'm
Yeah,
going to go. Sorry?
I'll share.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think calm for me feels like time, space, and like routine, which I just don't really have any of. So I think that's like I feel my most calm when I have time to like plan routine or like have structure, but I don't have that for a very long time. So very
Yeah,
much agree with the not remembering what calm feels like.
100%. I mean, and calm is about safety. It's about feeling safe. And in order for us to feel safe, then we have to be sitting in the basic human needs, which is certainty, like you said, Hannah. And certainty comes from understanding what's coming next. And that's where safety comes from. So that's really, yeah, that's it. That's a big one. Hang on. Calm feels at peace, relaxed when I'm not working and feeling in flow. Yeah, I've not felt it for a while. Calm for me is grounding yourself by sitting by the sea and watching the waves. Absolutely. I mean, all of these feelings, we can, they're, I feel calm after my daily meditation practice. Absolutely. And the thing with calm is it's not just we have complete control. So that it's about really understanding the biology. And like I said, I'm going to give you some really cool tools tonight. For those of you who know me, you may or may not know these tools. And if you do, then this is this is going to be a refresher and a little hint, hint, nudge, nudge to start practicing them again. Not directed at any people in particular. But if you don't, then these tools may seem really simple, but they will change your life. And the more you practice, the more second nature they become, the more you feel safe doing them, and the more powerful they become. Okay, so I'm going to go back. I want to go back to the circle of control, because when we feel overwhelmed, when we feel stressed, when we feel anxious, when we feel like we've failed, when we feel all of these feelings, fear, essentially because we feel like we have no control. We've lost control over a situation, and this then, there's a lot of fear around that, isn't it? Because basic human need, we like to feel certainty, we like to feel in control, so then we don't feel safe. But the thing is, in these situations, generally we're focusing on all of the things that we can't control. And that's how our brains are wired, to keep us safe, because it's a threat, fight, flight, all of these things I can't control. So I'm going to focus on those to make sure that I understand exactly where I'm at with those things. But the problem with that is because we focus on the things we can't control, it's like a vicious cycle. It's a hamster wheel. Then we get stuck. And then we feel more out of control. And then we focus more on the things that we can't control. And then it's just this vicious cycle. So the things you can't control, obviously, other people's reactions, past outcomes, timing, the economy, the future. So I want you to think about some of the things. Can you write down maybe 2 or 3 things that you focus on that you can't control? For those that are struggling with fertility, here that they're on their fertility journey, could be timings around protocols, fertility specialists, appointments, what people say, their reactions. You know, it could be work related. Maybe it's socially. Maybe it's something in the family. It's a problem in the family. There's an issue in the family. And we try and control other people's reactions. And then we become so spotlight focused on that we lose sight of everything else. Our vibration lowers. The stress response increases. And then, as I said, we're in this vicious cycle. So what can we actually control? So there's so many things we can actually control. Communication, energy, boundaries, breath, thoughts and self-talk. Anyone who knows me knows I talk all about language. Language is so important. Self-talk, self-care, my habits, and your nervous system. These things that you have complete control over. Okay, so when we focus on the things that we actually have control over, we shift our energy, we shift our state, we feel more in control, we feel more safe, and then we feel more calm. So I want you to think about this afterwards, could be tomorrow. I want you to write down all of the things that you can control. You know, what can you start to implement in your life today, tomorrow, do more of that you can control? Is it maybe incorporating some more self-care? Maybe it's doing some more exercise, some me time. Maybe it's doing some, what are your habits? Is it allowing yourself the space to give yourself the time to do something for yourself? Because sometimes we think we're not worthy of that. We put everyone else first, and then we leave ourselves for last. And that's where the problem compounds. Nervous system care. That's what we're going to talk about, okay? That's what I'm going to teach you some really cool tools. All right, number one. So when you are feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling anxious, when you get caught up in those fear-based stories, it's almost like you go out into the future because we're telling ourselves stories, aren't we, that we're about something that hasn't happened. We make up all of these reasons in our mind why something's not going to work, why we're not going to get where we want to get to, why we're not going to realize our dreams, why we're going to live in scarcity for the rest of our lives, why we're going to lose it all of the things. And we're having this out-of-body experience. So we're making up all of these stories in our head that haven't actually, how do we know? We don't know. It's not true. But we've told ourselves enough that we start to believe it because the brain's designed to believe everything that we tell it. So it goes about finding all of the evidence to prove why we're right. And whatever we tell it, we're right. But when we're in the present moment, we can't feel fear. We can't feel anxiety. We can't feel stress. We can't. We're not wired to be able to do that. So that's why this tool is incredible for grounding, for bringing yourself back into the present moment, for calming your nervous system, for bringing all of those hormones back into balance, okay? So let's do it together, okay? So I want you to think about now 5 things that you can see, okay? Give you a minute, 30 seconds. Then I want you to think about 4 things you can touch. I want you to physically touch them, whether it's with your feet or your hands. 3 you can hear. 2 you can smell. And 1 you can taste or love. And if you do this, you have no other option but to come back into the now. And you change your state in an instant. You've taken control of your nervous system. You've helped your body feel safe. And you've taken 1 step towards feeling calm. It's a really easy tool. And it just shows you that you are in complete control. You get to make the decision. We all get to decide whether we want to be calm or whether we want to be stressed. Now, close your eyes, okay? 3-3-3 breath, okay? So this is a great add-on to that, okay? So it's used by the Navy SEALs to reset under pressure. This is great for stress. We're going to inhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. I'm going to do this 2 more times. Inhale. 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. And do that one more time. Okay, and what's happening now is with every exhale, you're sinking deeper and deeper into your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest. You're allowing your body to find balance and to calm your nervous system. Do it one more time. When you're ready, I want you to come out of that and just write on your paper how you feel now. Do you feel calm? Do you feel like you're thinking clearly? Has there been a shift? Feel on the edge of tears. Let it out. That's your nervous system relaxing, shaking, tears, all of these physiological responses that we shut down. If your nervous system wants you to cry, then cry. Let it out. I feel calmer. I feel very relaxed. So when we feel calmer, you think more clearly, don't you? Anyone else? Yeah, I feel more connected to myself, absolutely. Less tension, absolutely. So all of these feelings, it's not just a one-off. You can do this every day. This can be your new norm. And I've got a toolkit of tools, and these are just 2 tools. That's how quickly you can change your state and how quickly you can bring yourself in the moment back to calm, which means you have complete control over your body, your physiology, and your mind. Amazing. All right. So I want you to know that you're not broken. Your nervous system is just doing its job. It was designed, it was wired to keep us safe. So this is why we struggle so much with, it's almost like you feel like you're reprogramming, rewiring, changing the story, because we're programmed to always to see the negative, because back in the caveman days, kept us safe, imminent threat to life, go into fight flight, but it's not like that anymore. But that's why it can feel really challenging to change or rewrite the story, teach us something new. I do. I can talk to you about that afterwards. Okay, so has anyone got any questions? I do one-on-one sessions, and absolutely I can talk to you after about that. Has anyone else got any other questions? I have a question from a lady, which I think is really, she couldn't be with us today, but I want to read it out because I think it was really How often do you do these practices? Well, I mean, if you can do them morning and night and maybe once during the middle of the day, the thing is, once these become second nature to you, you'll unconsciously just learn to be able to work there. You won't even know because the unconscious mind runs 95% of our day. So we're not consciously aware of what happens essentially 95% of the time. So if you think about it, you get up in the morning, you take a breath, you get out of bed, you just assume that you're going to take your steps. You don't think about it. So you want to get to the point where you just implement these tools and you're not even thinking about it. But in the beginning, I would put it in a schedule. Get up in the morning, set your alarm 5 minutes early. First thing in the morning, last thing at night. Obviously the best time, because if you get up in the morning, the first 15 minutes when you wake up, they're the critical. You set yourself up for either success or a day that potentially could spiral within that first 15 minutes. So if you get up in the morning, you do these exercises, you calm, you center yourself, you set yourself up for a really good day. And then if you find yourself spiraling throughout the day, then, I mean, you can even, if you're at work, go to the disabled toilet, sit there, you can sit there, just excuse yourself. It takes 90 seconds. Come back out, you feel calm, you're ready to go, you're clear-headed. And then at night. So that would be my recommendation. If you can do it 3 times a day, in the beginning until it becomes second nature. And like I said, it's going to feel really awkward in the beginning. You're going to feel like you are not good at it. It's not working, all of the things, but it's like with anything, the more you practice, the more powerful, the better you get at it, the more results you see, and so on and so forth. Will I be doing a fertility workshop sometime soon? I absolutely will. Nicole, I am going to do one as well. The 333 technique would be good before responding to toxic emails. Yes, 100%. And this is just, I will come back, I will do a fertility specific workshop. I've had a couple of people ask, I promise to do that. So that will be something that will happen maybe in the next couple of weeks. Leave it with me. I will do a copy. I will do a fertility workshop. Okay. The 333 and all these tools, they are incredible for work situations. If you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling under pressure, if you feel like you're about to lose your absolute shite, for lack of better terminology, because somebody or something is happening that you just can't, and your stress levels are through the roof. Excuse yourself for a second. 333 technique, come back. It's incredible. Okay, has anyone else got any questions here? I'm just going to find this question from. Okay, so can I actually rewire my stress response, or am I just wired this way? So essentially, yes, you can rewire your stress response. You're not just wired this way, okay? It's called neuroplasticity, okay? So we have the ability to change our story, okay? It doesn't happen overnight, but it's all about the language, the questions, and the beliefs and the thoughts that we feed our mind. So we essentially created a programming and belief. It doesn't mean that we consciously meant for that to happen, but if you go back to my story, there's there's memories, there's instances, there's mum and dad's beliefs, there's events along the course of our timeline that mean that create this programming. It doesn't necessarily have to be our belief system, but we take it on, don't we? And then all of a sudden it does become our belief system. So essentially we wrote our own story. We can rewrite another one. Everyone can do it. It's a lot simpler than you think, and it's just about consistency, showing up, creating that sense of safety, and knowing the right tools and the strategies to be able to do it. Does anyone else have any questions? Any takeaways? No? Okay. So I just want to really thank you all for being here tonight. I hope your body feels a little more calm and grounded. I trust that it does. And like we said, this is not a one-off. It's a biological truth. Like, you can take control. You have such a calm presence. Breathe, yes. What am I always saying? There are a few women that I have worked with on and off here for a little while, and what do I always say? Breathe. We are the masters of our own minds. What we think we can stop and change, 100%. And sometimes it just takes someone to show you. Thanks, Lou. Great reminders to keep taking those micro breaks. Absolutely. And that's what I want you to all take, okay? And Jennifer, we are the masters of our own minds, and we think about what we can stop and change. Absolutely. Our mind and our body is the only thing we have complete control over. Okay. So, amazing workshop. Thanks for the invitation to myself and daughter to join. Thanks, Nicole, for joining. I said that I had a little gift. I've got something really exciting for you all. I'm launching a new program called the Calm Reset. So it's a 4-week space to help you make calm your new norm. And I'm launching that on the 4th of August. So this may or may not speak to you, and that is completely fine. There is no pressure either way. But if you do decide in the next 48 hours that this does speak to you, then I would be absolutely honoured to support you. And as my little gift to you, I'm going to gift you a one-on-one session for free. So as I said, I'll send you all an email with the details tomorrow. There's no pressure either way. If tonight was enough, then that is completely fine. But what I want you to take away from this is that calm is possible. And now you've seen it, you can't unsee it. So thank you.